Hi kids, welcome back to Vay's Bookshelf, and today I'll be reading Chapter 3 of A Ranger in Time, Escape from the Twin Towers. Chapter 3, Trapped. Someone had screamed. Parts of the ceiling caved in. A tall shelf full of binders and books tipped and slammed to the floor. Papers blew everywhere. Bits of plaster rained down on Ranger's back. He yelped and darted under a table. Another shelf came crashing down on top of the table. Ranger curled up on the carpet, trembling. When the noise quieted, Ranger called out. Where was he? He stepped over a jagged bit of broken wall. He could hear people somewhere down a hallway. He'd go find them. Maybe they needed help. But just as Ranger started toward the door, he heard a muffled cough. Ranger barked. He couldn't see anyone. But he knew that sometimes when buildings were damaged, people were trapped where they couldn't be seen. Ranger barked again to see if the person would say anything. But all he heard was the building creaking and groaning above. Carefully, Ranger stepped through the broken furniture and ceiling tiles. Where was the person who'd cough? Ranger sniffed the air. He smelled plaster and dust and smoke, hot metal and melting plastic and gasoline. And then, there! Ranger caught the scent of a person. Wait. No, 2 people. Ranger followed the scents to the corner of the room. That was where the first shelf had fallen on a heap of crumpled plaster. Ranger barked again, and then someone called out, "Hello?" Ranger pawed at the hefty shelf, but he couldn't move it. He had to bring help. He barked once more, and then he climbed through the debris to the door. People's sounds were coming from down the hall. Ranger ran until he found some men and women huddled in a group. Ranger barked, and one of the men looked down at him. "Whose dog is that?" he asked. "No idea." A woman with a torn skirt shook her head. "I've seen people with service dogs, but not on this floor." She and the man both turned away. Ranger barked again. He pawed at the man's leg. When the man looked, Ranger ran down the hall toward the room where the ceiling had fallen. He stalked and barked again. Then he raced to the man and back down the hall. Back and forth Ranger ran, barking and barking. The woman with the torn skirt gasped. Were Suda's daughter and her friend down there? She and the men followed Ranger down the hall and into the battered conference room. "Hello?" the woman called. "Risha, are you here?" Ranger climbed back to the spot where he'd heard the cough. He barked, and a weak voice called out, "We're here." "Hold on," the woman shouted. "We're coming to get you out." Risha couldn't see anything from under the rubble, but she recognized the woman's voice. It was her mother's friend, Mrs. Burke, who worked in the reception area. "We're all right," Risha called, "but we can't move." "It's okay. Just sit tight," the man began pulling tiles and pieces from the wall from the pile. He tried to lift the big shelf, but he couldn't. "We need strong arms down here," he shouted at the door. Soon 2 other men came rushing in to help. "Easy now," one of them said. "On 3. 1, the men bent down and wrapped their hands under the edge of the shelf. 2, 3. Together they lifted the heavy shelf. A pink nail-polish hand burst up from the plaster and dust. "There she is!" Mrs. Burke grabbed Risha's hand and pulled her carefully out of the mess. Max crawled out behind her, coughing. Then he sat back and looked at Ranger. "That dog found us." He leaned over and lifted the first aid kit from Ranger's neck. "And he brought bandages and stuff?" "That dog wouldn't leave us alone until we came for you," the man from the other room said. "You sure you're all right?" "I'm okay," Max said, and then looked at Risha. "You got a big scrape on your forehead." He took a bandage from Ranger's first aid kit. "I'll be okay," Risha said as Max put the bandage on for her. "But I need to find my mom." Mrs. Burt's eyes darted to the other adults. Her face was full of concern. "Where did she go?" Risha's breath caught in her throat. The morning came rushing back. The low-flying plane. The crash and the dust and the darkness. The plane must have slammed into the building above them. Where had Mom said she was bringing those muffins? Had she taken the elevator upstairs? What if she was where the plane had hit? Risha's eyes burned with tears. Max answered for her. "She said she was going to Port Authority." Mrs. Burt let out a breath. "That's way down on the 68th floor." She put a hand around Risha's shoulder. "Your mama's fine. She's probably already..." She broke out coughing before she could finish her sentence. The smoke was getting thicker. When Mrs. Burt stopped coughing, she looked at Risha. We'll find your mom outside. Right now, we all need to get out of this building. Alright kids, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next with Chapter 4. Bye!